Good morning. Here we are. Beautiful late summer morning. I'm just on my morning walk with the dogs and just contemplating what we're working on, how Soundgas is going to be shaped in the coming years, and wanted to get an idea of what people want from us. Obviously we're known for vintage gear, servicing, manufacturing our own products. We obviously also have quite a following on Instagram, and our content tends to be quite popular. But we've realised we can't do everything that we want to do. We've got lots of other ideas, loads of new designs. We can't do everything we want to do. We just don't have the resources for it. So we're getting a list together of some of the things that we feel we'd like to focus on, but really keen to get people's input on what you'd like to see from Soundgas. What is it that would most be of interest? I'm very keen to do more sounds, more sample packs, more production, more content, actually talking more about why we like certain pieces of gear, discussing cheaper options than the usual expensive stuff that most people can't afford. You know, there is an alternative to buying from people like Behringer, but it requires quite a lot of time and experimentation, which is not always something that most people can do. Most people need something that works straight away, and hence why companies like Behringer are doing so well. I mean, they're doing they're doing what vintage gear used to do for me when I started out. When our first studio was around about 1992, and then the cheap option was to buy Roland Junos, Korg MS-10s, Moog Prodigy, old Space Echoes, which never seemed to work. And so for us, the cheap way to get started was old analog gear, because everyone else was going digital. But of course now, the old analog gear, most of it is very expensive or doesn't work. So yeah, I'm interested in what people want from us. So we'll be running some polls. We're going to put some content on the site, asking questions. I'll do some things here. We'll post this as a thread with a poll, but don't hesitate to DM or email if you've got some thoughts on what you'd like to see us focus on in the coming years, because at the end of the day, we do what we do because we want to serve the community. I know a lot of people have asked about coming to visit, so we're looking at working out a way of us doing visitor days, visitor experiences. We've been looking into the logistics of people coming and getting some time with the techs. We're not sure if that can work. Maybe online tech support is something that people would like. So yes, for those who didn't see earlier, this is a beautiful late summer morning in England, and I'm just getting Dub Station Zero. Hello. Hi. You like the cheap alternative idea? This is what I like. Soundgas, that's what Soundgas was always about. For me, it was always about finding things that weren't very well known and that sounded good. So that's how I got into Grampians. I bought my first Grampian 636 on eBay for £70. It was a slightly odd looking grey box that didn't really promise much, but there was just something about it I liked the look of. Same with, for example, the Hawk HR 45, which has become super sought after, and I know it's featuring on a lot of very well-respected records now, and that literally came about from me seeing it and thinking that looks interesting, and at the time they weren't very expensive. We've done the same with the old Pioneer 202s. In fairness, that was following Tom Elmhurst and Mark Ronson, but there are still bargains to be had out there. Someone from Germany got in touch recently on one of our posts. It was actually a post from Real World asking about less expensive options from a mixer. And there are a huge amount of things out there that are not necessarily exotic or well thought of or expensive. I know Mike Dean posted on his post not long ago, I think it was a PV mixer with spring reverb that he was getting great results out of. I've got an old Trainer mixer. It looks terrible. I think it cost me, again, less than £100, and it's got a spring reverb in it, it's got onboard EQ, it's got a send. It was just the sort of thing that was standard back in the late 70s, early 80s, and it's great. It sounds really good, and there are a lot of things out there that are not well known. Experimenting with old hi-fi gear, overdriving hi-fi gear can be very interesting. Overloading circuits to the point where they pretty much fall down, and you can get some really brutal distortion, real character. A lot of this stuff you can pick stuff up for very, very low amounts of money. If you go to thrift sales, yard sales, here in England we call them car boot sales, there is stuff to be had. You've obviously got to be careful, make sure it's electrically safe. There's lots of old equipment that is not particularly popular now. There are lots of old solid state amplifiers, for example, that on the surface look very, very unfashionable. Unfashionable is where you want to be if you're looking for something inexpensive. I've bought quite a few old solid state small practice amps, and they've been amazing. A little bit of work and they've been amazing. So always looking at what other people are maybe not looking at and not valuing if you want a cheaper alternative. So for those who've just joined us, I'm going to type it in actually, because this is what do you want from Soundgas. We're planning the future. Just pin that to the conversation. We're planning the future of what we do here, and very keen to get input. I'm just going to scroll back through the comments in case I've missed anyone. Oh, hello, Spike. So I've just been asked about less expensive options, and was just talking about always looking for things that aren't necessarily very expensive, things that you can experiment on for £20-30, dollars, whatever your currency is. Just because something doesn't look amazing doesn't necessarily mean it is. And obviously, conversely, sometimes things look amazing and turn out to be rubbish. I've got shelves of things that I've bought because I thought that looks interesting, and it turned out to have been, well, not worth the time. Anyone who wants a non-interesting internally thing with good looks can see things on our auctions. Maybe we're starting to clear the shelves. And again, if you're looking for things that aren't as expensive, I'll do a shameless plug for our auctions. The way eBay and Reverb seem to have gone now, it's just insane. I find Reverb just ridiculous. Asking prices that don't bear any resemblance to what actually things are selling for. No consideration as to whether they've been serviced. And so someone sees Soundgas sell a Juno that's been totally gone through and is warranted for, I don't know, for example, £3,000 or $3,000. Not the same, I know. And they think, oh, well, my Juno that's been sat in my studio for 20 years, never been serviced, kind of works. actually it works perfectly because I don't really know any better, then my Juno must be worth the same. And this is happening all the time. So finding places to buy that are less popular. So in Germany, there's a local eBay called, I can't pronounce it properly, it's something like Kleinanzeigen or something. In Holland, I know they have Marketplaats. In America, there's Craigslist. You've got to be careful for scammers, but there's also yard sales, car boot sales here, local paper ads. Some people still sell stuff by advertising in the local paper. Find the places where everyone else isn't buying, and more organic. Okay, that's an interesting one. So you want more something? What do you want from Soundgas? More organic. Okay, I'd like a bit of elaboration on that. I'm very into organic. Everything we do is generally organically grown. In terms of our following, we still don't really publicise or market our products because we sell them faster than we can build them. But yeah, please elaborate on the more organic thing. I'd definitely like to spend more time being organic. This is about as analog as it gets. So unless there are any more questions, I'll probably wrap it up. We will put some polls up. So we're going to send something out to the newsletter to the people who are on our mailing list, asking what you want from Soundgas. Do you want us to continue servicing and selling stuff at the high end? We'll probably still do that anyway, but what is there that we can do that serves people better? So there you go. That's a few thoughts on my morning walk. Thank you for listening to my ramble. I'll stick this up on the feed now, and if you've got anything you wish to add or ask, please comment below or DM us, and have a good week. Bye.